Hello everyone, this video will cover Module 4. Module 4 is the first module that will cover the next essay that we're writing, the argument essay. You will have 3 modules to complete this essay. So we're going to start this module with some brainstorming and pre-writing in order to prepare you for your essay. We'll continue with looking at sources in the next module, and the module after that, module 6, is when you will actually write and submit the essay itself. So we have a little while before you're actually turning the essay in. So let me go over what you'll be working on here. This module is mostly about learning more skills or relearning them depending on where and when you took Comp 1. So we're going over thesis statements and MLA documentation. Those are the two kind of major topics that we're covering, and you'll have a quiz over each one of them. And then you'll have the criteria for the essay that we're going to start working on, and you'll complete the pre-writing journal. So you have 3 assignments to complete, 2 of which are quizzes. The thesis statement should be mostly review from Comp 1, but you may want to go back through and really refresh what the best way to write a thesis is, how to draft one, how to revise one, that kind of thing. And then the thesis statement quiz will go over those readings, and you can see, let me see if I'll show you. Most of the questions are whether or not it's a good thesis statement, and so you have to determine based on how the sentence is written whether or not it matches the criteria for a good thesis statement. So it's a little bit different from like a multiple choice type quiz. We're looking at different thesis statements. So again, this is the kind of assignment that pulls from a pool. So the quiz pulls from a pool. So if you retake it, you'll see different thesis statements. And so you may want to go through it more than once, just because that'll give you some ideas for how to really get a good thesis written. So that's thesis statement, and then MLA documentation readings. For some of you, all of this will be review. For some of you, this might be a little bit new for you. And so I've got quite a few readings here. Some of it you'll want to kind of skim over, and some of it, it will be new information. You really want to read through it. The questions then on the quiz are ones that are like multiple choice type, vocabulary terms, but also some sample documentation things. So, what does a signal phrase look like, and what does the in-text citation look like, and those types of questions. So you'll be able to, that's a slightly different type of quiz, and again, pulls from a pool, so you'll see different questions if you take it over again. So those are both the quizzes that you will take for this module, and then you're going to start working on the essay. So I do recommend doing the quizzes first, just because those are the broad topics that we'll be working with as we go forward. Now we're getting into what are you doing on the essay itself. So this essay, the argument criteria, you will see again when we get to actually writing the essay. For now, what you're doing is just planning what you might be doing for the essay itself. So when you do any type of pre-writing in this class, it's really important that you spend some time brainstorming what you want to do. When you get to actually writing the essay itself, if you deviate from your plan, that's okay. If you switch topics entirely, you may want to email me to let me know. And the reason is because when I look at your pre-writing, I want to make sure that I can actually help you with what you're planning on doing. And so if you end up completely changing your topic, then any comments I leave on your brainstorm is not going to help you. Plus, you may have changed your topic to something that won't work for the assignment, and I won't have caught it, and so then we cause more problems down the road. So if you do change your topic after doing the brainstorm and turning that in, then you may want to email me. So this is the essay assignment itself. The first thing you're going to do is pick a topic starter. All of these are questions that are straight from the textbook. So we're going back to the practical argument textbook. The reason is because the first assignment, the first writing assignment you did was critical response to one article. Now we are branching out to using more than one source in an essay, but we're still keeping the essay short and fairly specific, because the essay after this is the research paper, and I don't want to burn you out by doing a whole bunch of research before you get to the research paper. And so we're trying to keep it fairly limited. And so what I've done is, you're practicing a lot of these skills. We are also incorporating the argumentation, which is a requirement for the class, but we aren't going so broad that you have to find a bunch of resources. So we're sticking to things that you can actually just use the textbook for. So the first thing you're going to do is pick one of these starters. Most students choose, is college education worth the money? Or what is the purpose of a college degree? Some of these topics turn very naturally into an argument, and some of them don't. The first one is kind of difficult to turn into an argument. The second one is a little bit easier. And then obviously the government, should the government do more to relieve the student loan debt burden, is a very easily turns into the government should or the government should not kind of thing. So you're going to write a standard 5-paragraph essay using the 4-pillar argument method, which comes straight out of the textbook again, and you'll get all of those readings a little bit later on. Some of it you've already done, but you'll be able to see those again when we get to writing the essay. So the essay itself is, you have your clear argument thesis. You have to have at least one counter argument. So we're doing a multiple-sided argument. So you have to have a counter argument or an opposing viewpoint to your viewpoint. So it does need to be one with multiple sides. And then you need to have at least 2 sources. One of those sources has to come from the practical argument textbook. You can use more than one from the textbook if you want to. You can also use an additional outside source if you want, just because some of the articles in our book are a little bit older, and so if you want to look at some current statistics, you may end up using an article outside the textbook. However, this is not intended to be a research paper. I don't want you to do a whole bunch of research outside of your own college experience, first of all, and then what you can find in the textbook. That's really the purpose of the assignment, is to isolate those skills that we need, building up an argument using multiple sources, and getting those real specific structure to our essay. So it's only 2 to 4 pages, slightly longer than the last essay that we did, and we are spending just a little bit more time on it. So the next thing that you're going to do is, once you've read over that and kind of decided which prompt you want to use, I want you to create this journal. The journal is you're just going to do it in a file, and I want you to label each entry. So for your first entry, you're just going to do a free write, set your timer for 10 minutes, type continuously about college education, purpose of college, any of those writing prompts on the anything related to college, higher education. It doesn't really matter if you get off track. I just want you to type continually about it. The second entry is where you're going to focus your ideas and do either a brainstorm or a cluster map, and both of those have examples in the textbook. You want to have main points, subpoints, that kind of thing, and kind of cluster it. If you decide you want to do a hand draw, because sometimes it is easier to hand draw it, you could just take a picture of that and then put your image straight into the Word file. So it's not difficult to do that. Most students will do that. You can upload your image separately if you want to, but not all image files will translate in Canvas. So it's usually easiest if you just take a picture of it and drop it, copy paste, drop straight into the Word file itself. Informal outline is the third entry. An informal outline is one that just uses bullet points. If you really like formal outlines with the Roman numerals and whatnot, you can do that, but most students aren't quite to that stage yet. And so just kind of a listing of ideas of what you're going to include is fine. And then the fourth entry is your working thesis. So this is your practice thesis using a should statement, which the textbook will talk about. And the thesis statement readings we'll talk about. So those are your 4 entries. You want to just type them out in a Word document, label each entry with the number so I know which one you're working on, and then upload the whole file to this assignment. And then, of course, I'll be giving you feedback on this before you start writing the essay so you can see how well your plan is going. As usual, if you have any questions at all about what we're working on, make sure you send me an email. Otherwise, I hope you're doing well and have a great week.